Hey, what's up? Well, I'm back again, back with another video that I didn't think I'd be able to make. And I would like to show off my little anchor pendant and say that I had a really good day today. And I've even got anchor socks, so that I'm not barefoot and I don't feel self-conscious about that. Well, I want to start out by saying that today or tonight was a very special day, Pearl Harbor Day, and it also happened to be the occultation, however you say that, when the moon occults Mars, lunar occultation of Mars. And what that means is when a planet is in such perfect opposition to the night side of the Earth that the full moon actually blocks it for a while, or it passes very close to the full moon. Okay, now it can happen. You can tell how much opposition a planet has by the phase of the moon when they're close. Okay, that's how you measure it, and it goes in reverse most of the time because they're orbiting the sun instead of the Earth. So, just very fascinated with that. I just wish I could have gotten into astronomy, many years ago instead of all the other stuff I was into. And, just had a very good week. I got me another pair of Nikes. Very happy about that. And the move, will hopefully happen next month or next week, sometime next week. So basically, I'm just couldn't be happier about finally leaving this stupid apartment where I have a very specific aversion to bathing in the wee hours of the morning ever since that apartment burned down, by the office, which they've never rebuilt. It's just an empty lot. And, I just have a very specific aversion to bathing around this time of night. And so I tend to either bathe early in the evening if I need to bathe at night, or if I haven't bathed by this time of night, like past midnight, I tend to just wait and bathe in the daytime. And the reason, well, because I just have this fear in my mind, this I don't know, this idea that I'm going to be trapped in the bathtub or shower or what have you when the apartment burns down, okay? And it just bothers me at night because it's already a scary time. If I had to describe the scariest, most eerie time of night, it would be the wee hours of the morning, because most people are in bed, and you would assume that it's harder to get first responders to come out and take care of problems. But anyway, enough about that. What I'd like to talk about in this video, wearing my nautical theme pendant and my outfit, and you can imagine where I went and why, and I'm very happy about it. We may not get to go there again. One of my favorite restaurants. And I'd like to title this video Bare Feet and Nautical Themes. And what I mean by that, well, as I've shown you, I'm not barefoot in this video. I don't know why. I just always feel the urge to cough when I make videos. And what I like to talk about is how, I am totally done with Rugrats. Like, as I've stated before, so many times, it has nothing to offer me. I have no interest in the reboot, they would have to show something really good or spectacular, for me to get interested in it. And thus far, what I've seen of it, it has much less to offer, in the way of things that I like than even season 1 or 2 or what have you of the original series. You know what I'm saying? The original was better, the first ugly season than this stupid reboot is. And what I mean by that is there's just certain things that I like in a cartoon or that are special to me. You know what I'm saying? I really don't get into cartoons, as I've stated before. But, I've just recently gotten into Rocket Power. And I'm just realizing just how much better it is than Rugrats, and how I wish I would have appreciated it more. I wish I could have seen past the envy or jealousy that I felt toward the male characters going through their voice change. And I wish I could have just overlooked that and appreciated it back when it was in style. You know what I'm saying? I never got into extreme sports, obviously. But I could have appreciated it as something that was similar but different than Rugrats. Okay, and it's just so much better than Rugrats. Well, pretty much anything is. I mean, there's only a few things that are not. If there's one intro song that I don't ever want to hear again, it's the Rugrats theme song in any way, shape, or form. And so, Rocket Power, I was thinking, why do I like it so much better than Rugrats? Other than the things I've discussed before. And one thing I like to see in a cartoon, okay, is characters going barefoot. Now, I've always had this, I guess, fascination with feet that I can't really describe. Not really a foot fetish, but, I just don't like to be barefoot. But I like to see other people barefoot. And I don't know, it's some kind of a pride thing. And, one thing I like in a cartoon, or always have, is like when you'll have characters that typically don't go barefoot. Like their usual attire includes shoes, most of the time. And Tommy on Rugrats is one of the few exceptions, which is why he's not my favorite character. Basically, I couldn't care less about Tommy. I mean, to put it bluntly, I mean, he may as well be a gourd on the table, which is what he looks like. I don't care about him. And so, I was not watching the Rugrats because of Tommy. If the only characters I would have ever seen would have been Tommy, Chucky, Phil, and Lil, I would have stopped watching it and saved a lot of time that I wasted long before I did. Okay, if there would have been Angelica, which I don't know why it's always the antagonist. It's always the villain. And I'm starting to notice a pattern wherein a lot of villains wear purple. I don't know what it is about purple, but they like to associate purple with villains. Purple and green, Mardi Gras type colors with villains. And they like to associate primary colors like blue with heroes. Okay, I mean, notice, a common denominator. Like Angelica on Rugrats, what color is her dress? Purple. Cedric on Sophia the First, what color is his robe? Purple. Lars on Rocket Power, what color is his shirt? Purple. Okay, and that red star, I've just finally made that mental connection between Lars and Mars. And in my mind, they may have not intended it that way, but to me, that red star is like the red planet. Okay, so I could never forget that. The guy with the red star on his purple shirt is Lars, and it rhymes with Mars. Okay, so for some reason, antagonists are, they just like purple for some reason. They have an affinity for purple. I don't know why that is. It's such a pretty color, pretty royal color. Why do they always associate it with villains or antagonists? So, basically, I just want to talk about, as I've titled this video, nautical themes. And it's hard to get this thing to be on the right side, instead of the wrong side. So, I just want to talk about how one thing I like about Rocket Power and makes it far superior to Rugrats, and how it kind of ties in with the early 2000s, is I notice a trend toward nautical themed cartoons, around the time of SpongeBob taking over Nickelodeon. And I like Rocket Power because they spend a lot of time in the water. Okay? And I like the fact that they actually live in a place that has weather more like ours, where you don't have a white Christmas. You know what I'm saying? Or you don't, it's like warm weather, like this unfortunately warm December weather, that the only way it's December is because of the calendar and how early it gets dark. It doesn't feel like December. It feels more like September, okay? And so the kids on Rocket Power live in a warm climate and they spend a lot of time in the water, okay? And so that's something I really like. Now, I must admit that at the time, seeing boys without a shirt kind of made me dysphoric, because obviously I can't do that. So, I just like the fact that they spend a lot of time in the water. And, characters might have a typical outfit that they wear most of the time, where they're all covered, and especially antagonists, I've noticed they also tend to cover more skin. Um, so you'll have characters, that wear a lot of clothing, okay? But in Rocket Power, you've seen pretty much all of them at the beach, barefoot, okay? And in the case of the boys, without a shirt. Um, so, that's one thing I like about it that makes it superior to Rugrats in my mind. And of course, some of my favorite episodes on Rugrats were like Beach Blanket Babies and, the ones where they did go barefoot and go swimming and all that. Um, but by and large, from what I see of this reboot, they don't have a lot of that. It's mostly, pretty much, well, Angelica is never uncovered, looks like. And that could change, and I don't really care. That's not going to make me want to watch it. Like, as I've stated before, I'll do anything and everything but watch the reboot. Okay? And unfortunately, I think I'll have a lot to do once we move to that house. So, I like it when characters go barefoot. And yeah, just like Rocket Power. I guess I'm biased, and I guess it'll fade away just like all my other obsessions. Um, but I like the fact that, even the antagonist, I'm thinking of Lars, and his friends and all that. The antagonists, that are normally, wearing longer sleeves than everybody else, and, he wears this stupid winter hat that looks out of place in a warm climate. Um, so they might be covered up most of the time. But then, they spend enough time at the beach that, you will see them barefoot and, shirtless if they're male, if you watch enough episodes. And that's one thing I like about Rocket Power. And, it's one thing that I wish they would have done more of in Rugrats and, other cartoons. It's like I cannot stand a cartoon where you almost never to never see certain characters in anything but what they usually wear. I hate that. And I feel like the reboot has kind of taken Rugrats, backwards to more of that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? No puke scenes, no alternative outfits, no exciting or interesting changes. You know what I'm saying? Um, it's not my thing. It never will be. It feels like a bad video game um trying to pass itself off as a cartoon, and it's just not what I want to be watching. And so I'll go ahead and end this video and try to get back to what I was doing and just say that, I like to see bare feet and nautical themes on TV. One thing I wanted to add before I end this video, which is already too long, I want to say that, as I've stated before, that third movie that some idiot or idiots out there have been trying to convince me, that what I believe is wrong, which they never will. That would be like trying to convince me of a lot of things that I know are true, which I won't go into. But one thing I like to state once again, I probably said it before, but that third movie, that third Rugrats movie, even if it were not the case, that what I believe happened did at the end, okay? Even if that were not the case, okay? And let's say you could just delete the one little thing, that makes me believe that, that one line, somebody needs a diaper change, I won't say whom, which, as I've stated before, I mean, how do we know he didn't mean himself, There's no proof that he meant anyone, but I can read between the lines. And just because you're too stupid to read between the lines doesn't make what I believe untrue, okay? And as a work of fiction, there is no actual truth, okay? So even if that were not the case, let's pretend for a moment that it weren't the case, okay? And let's say that, or let's just say that in all three movies she crapped her pants, which, I'm starting to, I mean, that's really what I believe anyway. I don't believe it was just the third movie, and I don't even believe she was potty trained to begin with, okay? So, even if you could take that away from the third movie and say that it is not, this special movie where she crapped her pants, Okay, I would still like that third movie better, than the other two in the trilogy. And I've stated before why I feel this way. But the fact that she goes barefoot, and so do all, or most or all of the other kids at some point. You have bare feet and you have a nautical theme, which I could not be more obsessed with this. Um, you have a nautical, tropical type theme, a luau theme, which is so appropriate for places like this where it doesn't even get cold in December half the time. Um, you have that kind of summer type theme going on, and you have kids going barefoot, and you have a superior cartoon getting involved with the show. So it would still be my favorite movie, even if that were not the case.